Now that Shenhe is out, most players can test her out, and she's quite impressive within her niche. But if you're still on the fence on whether she's good for you or not, I'll break down her strengths and weaknesses I face when using her in battle and give you my perspective on whether you should pull for her or go for the other 2.4 banner characters like Xiao, Ganyu, or Zhongli. By the way, I already broke down who you should go for between those three, so I'm not going to waste your time repeating myself, but go for Zhongli. So as you know, Shenhe is a Cryo support character, and my god, does she give pretty good numbers. While playtesting, this is my Ganyu's charge shot with no Shenhe buffs, hitting 10k and 18k, which I know some of you folks will judge me, but that's typical for me. But when applying Shenhe's burst and skill, it raises to 21k and 30k, so over 10k per shot. I mean, that's not too bad, right? 50k per charge shot, that's nothing to laugh about. But you could do that 3 times on a single enemy, but I'll talk about multiple enemies a bit later. Here's Ayaka's damage without buffs. Charge hits for 5,700. I know it's low, again, don't judge me too harshly. With all buffs applied, charge hits for 19,000. So there's a huge increase in damage, and that's Shenhe's basic role in the game. She's also great at applying Cryo because of her burst, going great with elemental reaction focused teams, especially Melt, while also increasing your main Cryo DPS units, and that's her strength. It allows your team to beat the living shit out of the enemy. I'm talking about massive damage, and that's pretty fun to look at sometimes, but she does have several problems that I personally face. One major problem with Shenhe is that her E skill is a bit too short in effect, and it does have a long cooldown, which is understandable because she'll be broken if there's no limitation. I mean, adding 10 to 15k, even 20k per hit is pretty impressive. One major issue with Shenhe is that her buff quotas are freaking short as hell. Like, I use them all within less than 3 seconds. This is because it applies to every hit, even on multiple enemies. Example, tapping her skill gives you 5 quotas, holding her skill gives you 7, and if your one attack hits 5 different enemies at once, it's nearly all gone. So as you can see here, it's not based on per attack, it's per hit, even on multiple enemies, which is why I said the buff goes away too quickly, because 2 charge shots, it's gone, and you're going to have to wait 10 to 15 seconds for the skill to cool down. Like I mentioned before, I understand why miHoYo placed this limitation, because she'll be too broken if there wasn't any, but again, I don't know, I feel like the buff is way too short. A way to help with your cooldown is your rotations. Use your skill, then switch out to other supports, do your thing, then switch your main Cryo DPS and attack. Switching back to Shenhe after you're done, and repeat. This way you shorten the Cryo DPS cycle, but in the middle of the battle, your rotations may get mixed up, and during those times, trust me, you'll definitely feel the long waiting period to use your skill again. You also need to spam her burst quite often, otherwise she's just freaking sitting there, so ER is very important. But thankfully, you'll have another Cryo character to help with energy. Unless you're just putting her with random teams, then you're kind of using her a bit wrong. So here are my stats, 3,300. I don't know what's wrong with my build, maybe it's because I don't have her Calamity weapon, but from what I've read online, people are hitting 4,000 easily, even 5,000 supposedly, I don't know. So something must be wrong with my build. I am using all 3 attack percentage artifacts, but my Shenhe isn't max level yet. Even with max ascension and max level, I don't think I'm gonna hit 4k. I have to do a bit more research, but I think 3,000 is pretty decent. I don't know. Crit rates is a bit on the lower side, but if you're going for support Shenhe, then it's not all that necessary. Sure, it'll help with her attacks, but it's kind of hard trying to balance everything. Obviously, crit damage is pretty low as well. Energy recharge is at 200%. To me, that is the sweet spot. I tried at 170. It wasn't enough, so I think 180 to 200 is the perfect balance for spamming her burst. But overall, I'm kind of satisfied with her stats. Just need to do more research on the attack percentage because, I don't know, 5k, I don't know if I can, I don't think I can reach that much. The weapon I'm using is the Engulfing, which is great with energy recharge, but the Favonius is another good 4-star weapon if you don't have the 5 stars. Artifacts is the 2-piece Gladiator and 2-piece Shimenawa for attack boost, but I feel like she's going to get an artifact set in the future. We'll see. Again, ER is a must for burst spamming, and attack percentage Sands, Goblet, and Headpiece to maximize her support skill. She's at C0 and talents are 2, 8, 7. you don't really need to max out her normal or even level it up unless you're using Chongyun with her or if she's like your main DPS, but then again, if she is a DPS, you'll mainly use her burst. Now the question is, should you pull for Shenhe or go for the other 3? They all play a different role, but I honestly will go for the others. Like I mentioned already, Zhongli is a must if you don't have him yet. Zhao is amazing for high damage, but he's not free-to-play friendly to build. You have to max out his skills, so a lot of morals and talents, and his weapon is a bit more selective. If you need a cryo applier, I'd much prefer Ganyu because of her charge shots and her her burst is amazing. The problem with Shenhe is her niche cryo role, which is amazing within the right team, don't get me wrong. If you have those teams, you'll definitely love the boost in damage. If you have like Alyaka, Ganyu, Chongyun if you main him of course. Rosaria is another great option. I personally haven't really playtested Eula as much, but then Eula is a physical DPS. Yes, Shenhe's burst will help, but again, she's more for cryo support. She's honestly fun to use, and you get to see big numbers. Who doesn't like that, right? But she isn't necessary. Other team comps outside of cryo can do big numbers as well, so it's not like Shenhe is the only one in Genshin Impact that can give you a major boost. Me personally, I don't see myself using her in a serious battle. Then again, I'm not a cryo main. I know there are many who are though. She's amazing at what she does, but the other 3 are more better for general use. I'd say if you don't plan on using cryo teams a lot, then skip her. Using Chongyun is probably the best to utilize all her skill sets because everyone can deal cryo damage, but again, she's just restricted to certain team builds. I'd say skip her. You'll benefit a lot more by having one of the other 3 characters, but again, that's just my opinion. We all have different playstyles. Your account may benefit the most by having Shenhe on your team. Maybe you'll clear Spiral Abyss a lot more easier. I don't know your account, I don't know your weapons, your team builds, your playstyle. You have to take all that into consideration, but in my opinion, my playstyle, it's a skip. But the Fox waifu is also coming out in the future. I have to say, I'd recommend saving for her because she looks amazing in the leaks. No official stats or data about her skills and bursts yet, but her attack animations, it looks amazing. It looks really good. I'd say check it out if you don't care for leaks. Well, there you have it, folks. That's my perspective on Shenhe. Really good within her niche, but I wouldn't recommend her. Comment down below to let me know if you summon Shenhe, or are you saving for a specific character like Yamiko, or are you going for the other 3 2.4 banner characters? I would like to know. As always, good luck on your summons. Till next time, have a great day.